Hello and welcome to Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. This time around, we will still be talking about Manchester United on the football aspect, and then we will be focusing on the NBA as well because that man, Steph Curry, is doing so well for himself. Those are the two major talking points on this week's edition of Sport Vibes. Stay tuned and get set for the ride. Welcome back. This is Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. My name is Bolaji Alimi and I'm your host. And as I told you earlier, we'll be looking at the NBA and of course talking about Manchester United. But a quick disclaimer before we get to start. This is not a Manchester United fan channel. But of course, when you look around the football world lately, the big news have been coming from Manchester United and you don't want to look away from them. So this time around, we'll be talking about the managerial role and all those things as well. But let's start with the NBA, the world of basketball. We told you a few weeks back about Steph Curry's exploits, and this time around, this man is not stopping because the two-time NBA MVP champion, listen to this, Steph Curry inspired the Golden State Warriors to its 7th straight victory as he scored 33 points in a 105-90 victory over the Los Angeles Clippers. So Curry scored 7 3-pointers to take his tally to 105 this season. That is huge, that is huge, that is huge. But before we talk about Steph Curry, of course, LeBron James also had 33 points as he helped his team, Los Angeles Lakers, to beat the Detroit Pistons, while Giannis Antetokounmpo contributed 26 points and 13 rebounds for the Milwaukee Bucks as they end a 118-100 victory over the Indiana Pacers. Steph Curry now, let's focus more on Steph Curry. We talked about this much earlier, about the fact that he is looking to have the outright record of having the most 3-pointers in the NBA. Of course, when you talk about the regular season and the postseason, talking about the playoff season as well, he holds it right now. But the official NBA records do not reckon with the postseason playoff matches. So Steph Curry, at this rate, it looks like this man may have the record to himself by December. So good one for him. You'd expect him to do more of that. But I love the fact that what prompted most of his points, the scoring spree, was a kind of emotional situation. Because at some point, there was this point in the game where he felt he was fouled and there was no call given, and then that anger, that emotion was like a fuel for him to go on scoring. And of course the whole team fell off of that as well. They took that as a fuel, and I think that's a positive in a way in sports. Sometimes you see players angry and then they get red carded at the end of the match in football, or even in some other sports you see anger turn into something else in the game. But why not just channel that anger to success, to victory? And that is exactly what Steph Curry did. That is what champions do. You don't just show anger in terms of maliciousness, in terms of violence. Let your game do the talking. So for Steph Curry, that's a good one from the NBA. The Golden State Warriors doing well for themselves as well. We leave the world of NBA now, but before we leave, let's catch a bit of highlight from the NBA. And when we come back, we'll be talking football. We will be talking Manchester United. Stay tuned.
Shots allowed at the iron. Clippers have been able to get there rather easily so far. Curry, great look at a three. Yep, you knew that.
Welcome back to Sport Vibes on DNTWOK. We've been talking about the NBA and now we will talk about Manchester United. We will talk about football because it's official. And I think that is no longer a news. That it is official. Manchester United now have a new interim manager in the person of Ralf Rangnick. This German coach is coming into Manchester United with a whole lot of experience, about 4 decades, almost 4 decades of experience as a coach and as a manager. So there's quite a lot to talk about. And personally, I have a few questions to ask. And I expect you to give some answers to that in the comment section below. And by the way, if you have not subscribed yet to this channel, you should do that right now. Just pause the video if you need to and ensure you subscribe. Alright, so Manchester United, of course, maybe some of their fans are basking in the euphoria of securing a 1-1 draw against the league leaders Chelsea. Maybe some fans think that is not something to celebrate. Nonetheless, it's another good news for them in the fact that they now have a new manager, they now have a new interim manager taking charge for 6 months, but that is not the end of the contract. He would be stepping up to an advisory role, a role as a consultant. That would go for 2 years. So obviously, Ralf Rangnick will be around the club for some time. And as I said earlier, there are quite some questions you'd want to ask. And you want to start from the fact that Manchester United are playing a different style to what Ralf Rangnick is bringing. But that is not even an issue. That is not an issue. Professional players, a big club should be subject to change. But before we talk more about that, let's look at some positives. What are the differences between Solskjaer, the one that was sacked previously, with all due respect to him, and now Ralf Rangnick coming in as a new manager? Of course, Rangnick, a good coach by CV, doesn't have the biggest titles in the football world, but he's said to be highly respected. Of course, you might have seen coaches like Jurgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel, talk about Nagelsmann, the Bayern Munich coach, talk him up as their role model, someone who had a great influence in their career. So that is good enough. That means he's someone that commands respect, and that is so crucial when you're talking about football. Yes, that is crucial because you're coming into a club where there are a lot of big stars. You don't need to mention so many names. Mention Cristiano Ronaldo. He is a big player. He's a player that commands respect himself. And so a coach that would be behind the scenes, a coach that would be the one managing a team that involves Cristiano Ronaldo, needs to command respect, because that is the reality about football. As it is in any other world, in any other field, you'd expect someone that would be mentoring, that would be teaching you things, to be someone who knows better, obviously, and that is what commands respect. You might have observed some changes with Barcelona. I'm not saying they are there yet, but of course you see some level of differences in their style of play lately, because someone who knows about the club, someone who knows how the club plays, he's now behind the scene. He's now the one running things as the head coach, talking about Xabi Hernandez. So from what we've gathered, Rangnick is a coach that commands respect. He has done quite a good job in his almost 4 decades of coaching experience, from Stuttgart to Hannover 96 in Germany to Schalke 04 to RB Leipzig, and quite a number of clubs. And as a matter of fact, he was really in charge of the Red Bull family in football. He went to Salzburg eventually, and he had quite a level of influence on players like Naby Keita and Sadio Mane. And then you talk about someone like Roberto Firmino, also at Hoffenheim. So this is a guy who doesn't just coach, he doesn't just manage, he knows how to improve players as well. And that is a good news for players like Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, and of course Jadon Sancho, who seems to be getting a good run of form lately, So for Rangnick, there's a huge job waiting for him. There's a huge amount of job on the desk, but this is a guy who has proven that he has the capacity, he has the capability to turn things around. Just look at RB Leipzig in Germany and see what he did. So for Manchester United, of course, they have a greater stature than Leipzig, but you might want to believe, especially as a fan, that this is the right man for the job at the moment. And then another positive, apart from the fact that he is a coach that should command respect of the players in the dressing room, is the fact that he knows the market. This is a guy that knows how to get bargains in the transfer window. If you ask any Manchester United fan, I think, or anybody who follows football really, I think that is an area where Manchester United seems to have gotten quite a number of deals wrong, spending huge amounts of money each window, and seems this player did not give the exact amount of value they expect from them. So for someone like Rangnick coming in, who knows the exact kind of players he needs for the style he plays, and when you look at clubs like Chelsea and Liverpool, this is something they have done so well, knowing the right kind of player they need and going after them with a single mind. And if Manchester United gets someone like that in Rangnick, that would be a good addition.
Our idea is clear. It's very, very similar to my, I would almost say, coaching friend Jurgen Klopp. Our football, our Red Bull football, is heavy metal, rock and roll, and it's not slow waltz.
And now let's talk about the style of play. Ranić, as I mentioned earlier, is said to be like a role model figure for guys like Thomas Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp, and these are guys, especially Jurgen Klopp. This is a man that is known for the heavy metal of football. He doesn't favor square passes and passing it back to the goalkeeper. This is that man that wants his team to press high up the pitch and get the ball back almost immediately after the team loses the ball to the opponent. And of course, that means that players at Manchester United need to up their game. Most of the players right now are not used to that kind of playing style. They are not used to that. The number one player on that list should be Cristiano Ronaldo. He has never been the player to press high up the pitch, maybe even before he clocked 30. Not about him being 30 years above. Cristiano Ronaldo is not that man you ask to run after the ball, time and again. And of course, talk about his age now too. The muscles cannot allow him to do that. So that begs the question, the kind of role he would play. All these questions are to be answered in the nearest future, of course. But when you cast your mind back to the last match Manchester United had against Chelsea, Cristiano Ronaldo was on the bench. So you just kind of feel there's a lot of shaking that would happen at the club right now. Nonetheless, we keep our fingers crossed and just expect the best of football. And so another question you'd want to ask is how quickly this man can instill this philosophy into a club like Manchester United. Of course, if you were to be going to replace someone like Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, it will be much easier. But we're talking about a club that and a group of players that are not so familiar with this kind of playing style. Maybe Jadon Sancho tasted something around that at Dortmund, but just talk about a whole Manchester United team not used to pressing that much. Some players have been accused of laziness, but you just want to ask that question: how quickly? Because time is running out, and you don't want to say that this whole season is going to be discarded by Manchester United. You don't expect someone like Cristiano Ronaldo to stay put at the club if they eventually miss out on the Champions League. Talking about the qualification, so that means that the next 6 months should not merely be for experiments as much as he's learning on the job, trying to instill confidence back into the team, trying to instill his philosophy. They need to get results on the field as well. So it's a huge job for him, but he appears to be a capable man from the outside. I'll wait to see what happens when he comes inside fully. Another one you'd want to talk about is the freedom of expression. There were rumors that Solskjaer, the last manager, did not have the whole authority at the club, that singleness of mind to just say, this is the player I want, this is what I want at the club. Of course, there are figures at the hierarchy that dictate some things according to reports. So you don't want to ask the question, if someone like Ranić is coming in who has his own different idea, would he be given the freedom of expression to just instill his own philosophy, to go after the exact kind of player he wants without someone suggesting that, Cristiano Ronaldo has a huge market value, would be making a good return and all these things. So you just want to ask these questions. You want to see the answers to these questions as a football fan, as a Manchester United fan. So that makes for a good level of anticipation of what is to come at Manchester United and in the Premier League. But before we go, there is also an update coming from the world of tennis, talking about Novak Djokovic. It is under probability, it is doubtful whether Djokovic would be featuring at the Australian Open to defend his title come next year. So as updates come concerning that, we may be here to just serve you the very latest. Thank you so much for joining us on Sport Vibes this week. My name is Bolaji Alimi. Don't forget to subscribe right here and follow us on other social media platforms, from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course Telegram. Catch you later. Bye for now.